Well, as you can tell, it's been a while from the date of the last video and my physical appearance. So, I thought maybe I should get back into the review thing when I have a couple spare minutes. However, for a variety of different reasons, I haven't really seen any good horror movies lately. There's nothing really out in theaters, and then everything else I've seen that I liked, most people have talked about. Like recently, what did I see? I saw The Sacrament most recently, and I want to say it's called Affliction. It's two guys in Europe, vampire movie. It's good. I digress. I wanted to do something maybe not different, because this does exist already, but a little bit different, because on top of horror movies, as always, I've been spending this time doing a copious amount of schoolwork and reading in my spare time, because I'm able to dictate more time to reading than I would to horror movies, because horror movies require 1.5 to 2 hours of my full concentration. Books, however, require 5 to 10 minutes here and there. So to get right into it, I don't really want to do a book review right now off the top of my head, because I've read so many books within the last even like 5 months that I don't really even know what you guys would be even interested in hearing about. Personally, I read a lot of mystery, horror, and just adult fiction in general. I read some young adult if it looks good enough, but it's not really my cup of tea, generally speaking. So I thought instead what I would do is show you the books I've read within the past 6 months or so. Well, most of them are within the past like 3 months, but within the past few months. And if any of them speak to you and you're interested in hearing more about it, I will do a full review on it. Now, I will warn you, some of them I didn't really like that much, but most of them I would give at least 3 stars and up. Also, sorry about my wandering eye. I have my pile of books over here, and they're just like calling my name, and I'm having a hard time focusing in. It's been a while. You're gonna have to give me some time to get into things. I'm gonna go through the books. Bam! Name of book. Name of author. Vague, not really even a description, just words that come to my brain when I see the book. And then if you're like, oh, what was that book about? Then I will go back and make a real review of that book, but only then, because it's a lot of books, and I just can't. Also, in the interest of full disclosure, the books that I might do a review on, if you ask for them, the review will not be the same as the old movie review format, because of the fact I don't want to go through the entire plot of the book, because books in general tend to have a slightly more in-depth plot than movies do. I could be here all day. You know I get winded. Alright, without further ado, let's just get into it. So, we have Donna Tartt's The Secret History. Let's see, what words would I use to describe this? Murder. Greek. Rich people. Vermont. See, this is another one that, I've always kind of been like, do I say NOS4A2? Or do I say Nosferatu? What do I do here? Can somebody tell me? Also, Joe Hill, author of Horns, Stephen King's son. Kind of doing a review here when I promised I wouldn't. Joe Hill is all I'd ever hoped Stephen King would be. Vintage cars. Christmas. Paranormal. Murder. Creepy. Gas mask. Yeah. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This is one of those rare young adult fiction ones. I told you I only read some of the time. Let's see, what would I use to describe this? Time Loops, Island, World War II, Germans, spoopy. No, it's really not that creepy. I mean, the cover's probably the creepiest part of the whole book. Very excited for the extremely real possibility of the movie. I just got the second one because I have a kind of weird thing, and if I buy a book in a certain format, like this one's a paperback, I have to wait until the next book is a paperback because I can't stray from the path. I've committed myself to paperback. I need them all to be paperback. This one is kind of shameful because, as I told you, I read mostly horror and mystery. However, every once in a while I get in this mood where I'm like, I just want to ugly cry. And so I try to find things that will make me cry or feel more like, you know, standard girl book. It never usually works well. There's a couple times where it's worked really well for me. And if you want to hear about the books that made me ugly cry, I can make a video about that too. It's not that long, but it's still a list. There's more than one book. Anyway, I digress. Try not to judge me too hard. John Green's An Abundance of Catherines. Factory. Asshole. Asshole best friend. Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This is one of those books that I heard about a bunch when it came out, and everyone was like, oh, if you like blah blah blah, you'll like this. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get to that. And I swear to God, it was on my to-read list for probably a year at least. And it just kind of sat there waiting until finally it was cheap enough that I was like, whatever, yeah, we'll get that. And I actually really did like it. What would I say? Secret Library, Secret Society, Awesome Old Guy, books, Google, I Hunt Killers by Barry Lyga. This is another young adult one. I actually just finished this book. This would be my most recent book. What would I say about this book? Psychopath, killer, serial killer, angst, teen angst, dialogue, angst. A lot of angst, actually. Storied Life of A.J. Fickery by Gabriel Zevin. Island Bookstore, independently owned, Indian guy, grumpy, baby, nail polish. It's kind of bizarre hearing these words without knowing the context of the story. But this is another one of those books I bought because I was told that I would cry. And yeah, I didn't, but I got close. So I think that deserves some credit. Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. Let's see, what words would I come up with for this? Rockstar, German Shepherds, Dead Man, Pendulum. I don't think it's Nosferatu good, but it's pretty good. The Troop by Nick Cutter, among his many other aliases. By that I mean, you know, two. Boy Scouts, Island. There seems to be a theme here. Troop. Tapeworms, sea turtle, hungry, gross, terrible. Terrible in the context of the story, not in the context of the writing being terrible. This one actually was the first book in a long time to even have a part where I was like, should I keep reading this? I don't know if I want to keep reading this. Not out of badness, because that's happened plenty of times, but out of, ew, gross, please. No. If you ask for a review on this, I don't even know what I would tell you. The Southern Reach Trilogy by Jeff Vandermeer. This is kind of what I was hoping it would be from the get-go. It was not at all what I expected, but it was the hero I needed, not the hero I was searching for. Dome, bizarre, bunnies, mold, fungus, spores, biblical, lighthouse. I could be here a while with the words for this one, because as you can see, this is a lot of material to think of trigger words for. I'm kind of cheating, actually, because I'm pretty sure I read this more than the 5 or 6 month cutoff that I set for myself, but I really want to talk about it, because it is hands down my favorite collection of short stories I have read ever. I don't know, wait, hold up. I don't know about that, because Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark kind of made up my childhood. So maybe not my favorite one ever, but as an adult, I feel like it's the next step after Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. A Beautiful Thing That Awaits Us All and Other Stories by Layard Barron. This was one of those things that, I'm going to be honest with you, I bought it because of the cover and because the man behind the book, who is, as always, is on the back inside flap, not the front one, reminds me of a grizzled version of the governor from The Walking Dead. It was one of those things that marketing one, and I'm happy marketing one for once. One for marketing, because it actually is probably one of the best, like I said, it's one of the best short stories collections I've ever read. Blackwood's Baby has become my favorite short story of all time. And the thing about short story collections is that even though they're easier to read than regular books, I'm less likely to reread them in general, but I have reread that book a couple times. Museum of Extraordinary Things by Alice Hoffman. It looks like all I'd want it to be. Let's see. Freak show, romance, fire, Jewish, bad dad. It's like, bad dad. Deformity, mermaid, wolf. This one I've actually read before, but I reread it in the past 5 to 6 months, and it's one of my favorite stories, so I'm putting it in here anyway. On you. House of Leaves by Mark Z. Here you go. Get on Googling, because I'm not saying it and dealing with the repercussions. Love story, psychotic, house, hallway, growl, shotgun, video, cats, tattoo, thumper. This, as you can see, is a pretty big one. But if you were to actually condense it all into like typical page formatting, I'm pretty sure you would lose a couple hundred or at least 100 pages. The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. This is actually the guy who wrote Cloud Atlas, which is actually weird because I was really wanting to see that Halle Berry Tom Hanks movie that in general no one liked. I don't have like 3.5 hours readily available at any point in time. Psychic, telepathy, good versus evil, maze, daughter, consequences, Legos, solar panels, horror store by Grady Hendrix. I won't lie to you, Goodreads told me to read it, so I did. What would I say? Fake IKEA, ghosts, prisoners, warden, torture, dark. There were a couple others I was going to talk about, but they're really, really not good, so I don't want to waste time or energy or you guys' time, because if you pick a review for that, you're just going to be disappointed because it's just going to be me going, this sucks, and this is why you shouldn't bother. All of these are, well, with an exception for 1 or 2, pretty okay books, and so any of those you want me to talk about, I gladly will. We'll go into, like, how I liked the pacing and the actual story, besides just trigger words, and so on and so forth. But I won't tell you the ending. I won't do it this time. Let me know if you want to hear about any of those. Like I said, I really like books. I guess at this point in time, we've said all we have to say to one another. I've also just noticed that the string was tucked in that whole time, but despite my desire to fix that, I am not going to refilm everything I just filmed to fix the string. A comment, message, whatever, letting me know if you want to hear about any of these books in a far more detailed format. Also, I referred to the words I was using as trigger words. I meant keywords. Don't be sassy. Putting a link to my Goodreads account in the description. You're welcome to be my friend on there if you'd like. If you do, though, I should warn you, I do not write reviews for books. I will rate them star-wise, so I guess it's kind of cheating, because then you can kind of see what I would say about the book if you were to pick it for review. Video, right here, right now, after so long. Isn't that crazy? If you guys would like me to talk about horror movies again, I can try to throw one of those up every now and then. I probably would keep to the same format for those, though. It wouldn't be a serious review, as much as it would be like a shitty little overview like I used to do. Suggest movies then, though, or, you know, mention things you would be curious to hear about, because, I don't know, like, I'm still into them. They're still my favorite kind of movie. It's so much work trying to find them at this point. Like, it's not like I can just stumble on Netflix and find something good anymore. And it was good talking in my room to myself again.